Welcome to the Nadia Sahari Show.
Hello, everyone. This is the Nadia Sahari Show, and I'm so glad that you're here. She is a friend. She is the founder of the Austin Entertainment Business Network, and that's where we first met like a couple years ago, I believe.
Are you ready to live your dream? Motivation, inspiration, and passion. That's what it takes to make dreams come true. Welcome to the Nadia Sahari Show. Our guests will share important tips, insights, and knowledge to help you fulfill your dreams of success. Here's your host, actress, author, entrepreneur, Nadia Sahari.
Jennifer Hutchins, welcome to the Nadia Sahari Show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And what I have to tell you about Jennifer is that she has produced over 200 episodes and docuseries on CBS, A&E, Travel Channel. I mean, so many. So we're going to talk about that. And she's currently just now finishing one that she started last October. So we're going to talk. Jen, who are the directors that you work with?
The directors are Richard Linkletter and Bill Gutentag. It's an animal rescue show, and it's going to air on CBS All Access in the fall. Focuses on some really heartwarming stories, all based in Central Texas.
Wow, that's going to be great. I'm going to watch that one. I love animals.
Mm-hmm. I think right now we need to have a feel-good, animal story.
Yes.
Type of thing out there.
Yes, absolutely. I've rescued 18 animals.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
that's a lot of animals.
Myself, all by my lonely. I got each one individually, took them to vets, got them spayed and neutered and whatever they do, checked and injected and rejected. And oh my God, dogs and cats.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yes. And I rescued raccoons and birds too. I took them to wildlife rescue.
Nice. There's so many animals that need to be rescued. But we find too that when you rescue animals, they kind of rescue you too.
Yes, they do. Yes, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And it's so beautiful, so beautiful. One dog goes into my memory that I'll never forget, that I had a hard time getting, and I led it to my house with dog biscuits, and one at a time, and it walked and ate the biscuits one at a time because it was near the freeway. And poor thing had his tail between his legs, and that tail would not come up for anything. He was terrified. But I'll tell you what, after he felt safe and loved, that tail came out. And it was beautiful. It was the most beautiful thing ever.
Sure.
So
that's great.
Yeah, I love it. So let's talk about the episodes that you work on. You're a producer.
Mm-hmm.
So what does a producer do? And what's the difference in producing TV series or a film?
Well, a producer is kind of like the captain of the ship. Oversees that all the jobs are happening so that the ship can stay afloat and it can, take off from its launch dock and make it to its final destination. So usually us producers are involved from development all the way to fruition. And oftentimes there's quite a few producers especially in TV series, to make it all happen. On this show, or on this series, it was 10 half-hour documentary episodes. We had 4 field producers who were assisted by 3 associate producers. We had 3 actually we had more than that. We have over 5 executive producers, a co-executive producer, a supervising producer.
Wow.
We have network executive producers. And everybody does a different job. So, from anywhere from creative decisions to budget decisions to a collaboration of both.
Absolutely. You are so right. I've been a producer and I know exactly what you're talking about. And what I love about this industry is that the director, the producer, the assistant director, the makeup artist, the gaffer, everyone has their duty to do and their specialty, and they make and create this beautiful film or whatever they're working on, and it's a team effort, and it comes out so beautiful because everyone has their specialty and they don't mess around with the other person's specialty. And that's what I love about this industry.
Right, right. And I would say to answer your other question too, the difference between television series and film.
Yes.
A lot of times you have more time to think about things with film. You've got one storyline to focus on and get you there from beginning, middle, and end. TV series, in our case, we had 10. So we've got 10 stories happening simultaneously, and they're not all happening in order. Sometimes, so it's a docuseries, so it's about, real life things happening. So real life things don't necessarily happen in order. And so we kind of play checkers with our calendar, and we have to keep track of the story as each individual story is happening throughout the 12 weeks of shooting. So sometimes a lot of stuff would land on the same day, and we would have to double hire all of our teams or triple hire all of our teams so we could go out and shoot simultaneously. So you have to just be very nimble and flexible, moving on your feet. There was a couple days where I think we put out 4 different call sheets because there was just 4 different teams working simultaneously. Yeah. So it's like doing 4 films at once sometimes.
That's right. Oh my God.
Or 10 films at once. Once we deliver this, we'll have delivered 10 half hours. So, 10 mini films at once.
Wow. Amazing. Isn't it amazing? And wow, I know you put in a lot of hours. What is your day like when you're on set like that working?
Mm-hmm. Well, I've been doing this almost 15 years.
No,
and so, yeah.
You're only 21.
Thank you. Yeah. I started when I was, 5.
Oh, exactly.
So, it depends on what show I'm on. Sometimes I'm more of a creative, and I'm in the field overseeing the shoot days and, what we planned is getting executed. And if it's changing, that we're able to adjust our storyline as well. In docuseries, the script is alive. So you pre-plan it so you know what to expect, and you know what cameras to hire and what lighting to bring and how many crew and what location releases and what cast and all that. But you also have to just let it breathe, and what's going to happen happens. And so if it doesn't happen exactly how you expected, you're adjusting on the fly, you're revising your script, you're sending story notes, and you're communicating with editorial, which is also happening simultaneously, as they're ingesting all the footage and, putting the story back together. So on this particular series, I started with more of a budget hat on, and overseeing the hiring and, all the things that would need to happen to execute the creative that was planned. So, as we walked along the path, if there was a hurdle, I had to figure out how to get over it and then continue on, get over it. And so, in the course of this season, I hired over 100 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing, Jennifer.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, with all that you just said, I'm sure a lot of crazy things happen on set. What is the craziest thing that stands out in your mind that happened on set for you?
Oh gosh, in the course of my career or this series?
Whatever is easiest for you to think of.
One of the things that ruined me for life on being spoiled with excitement is producing an episode of the show. I produced the series Criss Angel Mind Freak, and we ended up with over 100 episodes over the course of 5 years of production that we did on that. And one of the episodes was a building implosion where Criss was attempting to escape a 9-story building filled with explosives, and it was set on a timer to detonate. So he had to make it through a series of shackles and trapdoors to the roof to get to a helicopter that was hovering before the building imploded. And so that episode was my baby. And, it started with a creative idea of, I want to, let's incorporate a building implosion into a magic trick. And so it was, okay, well, it was his idea, but I had to execute it. So it was finding some imploders that would work with us, and finding a building that was set to implode on our production schedule, and trying to marry the two and convince the city that this was going to be safe to have a film crew here, and in the course of it, becoming a building implosion expert and a demolition expert, and, convincing city official, I was working in conjunction with the police and the fire and the mayor, the city, we were shutting down streets. So when we actually shot this, we went live on A&E. And we ended up with 50,000 people live standing on the beach to watch this. And our whole production team, and we had a host, and we had the fire truck actually lifted Criss into the building. And, it was so intense because we were live, and, everything had to kind of just happen, as planned. And, and then it went unplanned because the building ends up imploding. And as the building is going down, I realized I'm standing in a tent in front of the building that's going to implode towards me.
Oh, dear God.
Wait a minute. That thought actually didn't cross my mind. Like, oh crap.
Oh my goodness.
So it was so intense. Criss ended up not escaping, and everybody thought that he had met his demise because we had to send the helicopter away. He didn't make it to the roof. And then he all of a sudden appears in the rubble. And, after a very intense minute of cameras and everybody looking for him. And so when it was all said and done, it was so intense that I all of a sudden looked at the imploder's wife, who was very intricate in the whole thing as well. Like, we were shoulder to shoulder the whole thing. And she's crying. And then I realized I'm crying because the whole thing was just so intense. Like, we didn't even realize how our emotions just like,
wow. That's amazing. Oh, I think I would have been a nervous wreck. I mean, just the thought of that. Just even having the building implode in front of you like that. And man, and you were so close and you didn't even think about that. Well,
yeah, I had two headsets on at the time too. So I had Video Village, I had production, I had the helicopter, I had the imploders, and then standing next to me, I had the captain of the police, and I had the chief of fire, and then I had the imploders. So, like with all those things, like, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm in front of a building that's going to implode.
Wow. I think with all that being said, it sounds like that's probably, there's excitement on the set, I'm sure, in a lot of cases. And are these the things that keep you going in this business? Is this why you do what you do?
Oh yeah. Because you never know what to expect. Every day is this new fun journey. I was shooting this segment with Louis Anderson, and and I was directing him, and I was young. I was in my late 20s. And he looked at me and he said, I don't think I'm coming across as funny enough. And I thought to myself at the end of the day, as I was like sipping on a glass of wine, I'm like, Louis Anderson was asking my advice if he was funny enough. And I had given him advice and he took it and he came across as funny. So, it's kind of just these life moments that you go, did that just happen? That was really cool. Or, when I was in the production office one time, Billy Gibbons of ZZ Top walks in and he's like, hey, I'm looking for Criss Angel. I'm like, oh, Criss Angel's filming. What's up, Billy Gibbons of ZZ Top? You want to film with us? And he's like, sure. What do you have in mind? And I was like, beard vanish, reappear. And he's like, Sure enough, his legalese wouldn't let him do it because there was a whole thing with Gillette wanting to pay him $1 million to shave his beard. But I was like, no beards will be harmed in this trick. But we did end up filming with Billy, and we did guitar string through the net.
Oh, dear. Oh
So,
my goodness.
and then he invited us, the whole crew, to come watch his concert later on that week. And, it was just a good old time. And after that series, I would constantly contact him and his wife, Gilly Gibbons, and invite them to participate in other series as well. So, it's like you carry these relationships across the board. So, Billy and Gilligan. Yes.
How cool is that? That's cool.
Check out the all-new Nadia Sahari Show. It's today's hottest new talk show and rated 5 stars on iTunes, featuring amazing guests and inspiring stories of today. All genres, all dreams, no limits. Visit thenadiasaharishow.com and get the app for Apple and Android. Easy streaming and listening. Have a business? Why not become a sponsor of the show and take your brand to the next level? Email us at info@thenadiasaharishow.com for our complete sponsor and advertising package deals. Let the show inspire you, motivate you, and educate you to your dream and to your success. Only on and always on the Nadia Sahari Show, the place where dreams really do come true.
Well, we have this COVID thing, of course, this pandemic, which has really affected a lot of us in a lot of ways. And how do you deal with something like this now? I mean, like on set, do you wear a mask? How do you manipulate this whole situation?
Yeah, well, when this all came down, we were paying close attention. My coordinator, his whole family is from China, so we saw what was happening with the lockdown there, and he said, he was saying, this is coming here. We should start preparing. And I think a lot of, organizations started preparing. And, in Texas, HEB was already talking to China when this was coming down. And that's why they were so organized compared to other people. So we were kind of doing the same thing. We were like, okay. We knew that it was going to be hard to get masks. Like that's like when this all went down, people were struggling like, oh my gosh, how do we get these masks? And then the more you found out that the only thing that was very protective was the N95 masks, but you couldn't get those because those were being distributed to the medical facilities. So we went on this rampage to try to track down KN95s, which were the equivalent, only Korean made. So that we could have something that was actually protective against COVID, and so that we were ensuring safety of our crew. But we were working simultaneously with the Film Commission, who was putting out messages to all of us. Everybody's at stay at home, filming's not allowed. So we were just kind of prepping. It's like everybody was kind of inching to the starting line, waiting for the gun to shoot. That we can go back out, because when this happened, luckily, we'd finished all of our shoot days. We only had pickup days left. So we merged all of post virtually. And so we have two directors. One ended up in San Francisco, one in Austin. Our executive producer, writer ended up in New York, two editors in New York, another one in LA. We've got color in New York, mix in Austin, mix in San Francisco. So everybody just went virtually, and we had to figure out, how to still keep things moving forward. But when we got out to set, we thought about it so much on how we were going to be safe. And Florida had came out with their manual on safety. So we'd read that whole 40-page thing. And like every time somebody came out with a new thing, we were looking at it like, okay, what are they doing? How are they going to be safe on set too? With separated meals and social distancing and the masks and the hand sanitizers and temperatures leading up to, like we had people take temperatures a week or two prior to shoot. And send it morning and night, because we wanted to look for discrepancies in people. And then we had forehead temperatures the day of. So we really hit it hard. I had a couple of people on set certified with OSHA for COVID safety, and so that they were in charge of COVID when people entered set. Like they got their temperature, they got their snack pack for the day, and they were told, where the restrooms were and, how that was going to be handled. So many extra things we had to think about.
Amazing. I mean, that just took so much extra effort on top of already hardworking projects. I mean, it's not easy to be a producer and to do all the things you do. And this is just an added stress.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's a budget hit too. You know,
Yes.
we had to spend a lot of money getting, providing extra masks
Yes.
for people and the sanitizers and, all the different things that go into that. And, at the time too, when this came out, it was hard to get sanitizer. I don't know if you remember,
Yes.
but all the aisles were wiped out of it.
Yes.
And so we were going to pool cleaning supply facilities and getting sanitizer that way.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, and it's the weirdest thing because I had masks and I had gloves and I had sanitizers that I had purchased way before COVID from Costco and different places because I used them for different things at different times. And I had the Clorox wipes too because I always bought extra because I always use those in my house. And it's the strangest thing that when that hit, pretty much everything that I had in stock was necessary.
Yeah.
And of course now I've bundled up on a lot of it because I don't know what's going to happen in the future.
Right.
So I'm stocked up, but with a lot of stuff, paper towels, everything. So, but this COVID definitely has hurt a lot of people in a lot of ways. And you're very fortunate that you're working and that you have the projects that you have. And I see that some of the film sets are going active again. And I imagine they're doing what you had to do to prevent COVID. Are there?
A lot of them are doing, 2 weeks quarantine where they pay the cast and crew and put them on some sort of compound hotel, whatever it may be, and they have to stay there for
that's an extra expense.
Yeah. Oh, big time. Ooh. Yeah. People are averaging about $300K, give or take, with additional COVID stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's such a liability. If one person gets it and spreads it to the crew, you're done.
I know.
I
know. And that unfortunately happens. That happens.
Mm-hmm.
So are there opportunities out there right now during this COVID?
Absolutely. It's a game in post and animation right now. So if you're setting on some materials that are, found footage, archival stuff that can be twisted into some sort of documentary, now's the time. Because anybody can edit virtually. People have their own edit bays in their house, or you can rent one. And same with animation. You can work virtually really, really well with voiceover people and, the big animation computers. And a lot of facilities, including Rooster Teeth in Austin, have moved their big animation computers to people's personal homes so they could continue. So that's some good opportunities right now. And then, smaller crew type of things, docu-series like we're doing, stuff where you can easily social distance. The stuff that's hard right now is the big blockbuster sort of movies that have hundreds of extras and intimate actors and all of that. That stuff's a lot more tricky. And it's being done, but, it's slowly, everyone's trying to figure it out.
Yes. That's got to be even more complicated, especially because of the two people talking to each other on the film. I mean, they can't be 6 feet apart and talking to each other.
Yeah. I mean, luckily now there's the 15-minute rapid testing, which is helping. Now I know sets that are having everybody tested, 3 times a week even. Ooh. So that's definitely helpful.
That's good. That's great.
The other opportunity too is in COVID coordinators. A lot of companies are looking to train and hire people in that position where they are overseeing COVID coordination, making sure that everybody has PPE and are practicing safe sets. Yeah. And a lot of these COVID coordinators have the authority to fire people right on the spot. They're taking it that seriously if people aren't abiding by the rules.
Good. Oh, that sounds good. That sounds like a good job for me.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're sitting there going, oh my gosh, I don't know where my income's going to come from, that's definitely something to look into. Because, if I were to predict anything, we're going into early 2021, unfortunately.
That's what they say. That's what they say. The reason I said that sounds like a good position because I'm a clean freak. I sanitize everything. I've always been that way, but I'm worse now because of the COVID. So I'm constantly sanitizing, even my doorknobs, my outlets. I mean, everything. Everything.
Yeah.
Think about your doorknobs.
Yeah.
People coming in and out. You just never know. But I was told that also that auditions are going on. Just having to self-tape and you can audition, but I don't know how that works on the set, but I don't know.
Yeah. A lot of people are doing virtual auditions. So there's more opportunity. People are more reachable.
Yes.
I think, there's a lot of hardship right now, but you got to just look for the additional doors and windows that have opened right now too.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you said that because it is true. And this is an opportunity for many people to have a new career in something else, or maybe their dream. So speaking of dreams, is this a dream that you've had since what age?
Oh yeah. I grew up in a small town in Michigan, Dukes of Hazzard style. It was a Ford Motor Company town where most everybody was employed by Ford, and then a mix of University of Michigan professors, but nice little quaint, Victorian homes sort of style town. And we were bored out of our minds. And I grew up playing the piano and dancing and going to traveling Broadway shows, and I just loved the entertainment business. And I originally had dreams of Broadway, of being involved in some sort of way. And when I was 18, I went to Hollywood on a trip, and I thought, ooh, this is where I want to live. And I studied writing and journalism, and I became a journalist, is what I got my degree in at Michigan State University. They had the second top journalism program in the nation, second to Northwestern. And so I was the second student to be aired on CNN, and then got a job at CBS right afterwards. But the Hollywood aspirations were still brewing and calling. And so after a year of working in news, I packed up everything that I owned in my car, drove across country without a place to live or a job, and landed in Hollywood. And didn't know what the hell I was doing. Thought I did, but I didn't know what the hell I was. And I didn't know anybody, and I didn't, have any circles or whatever. And a month later, 9/11 happened.
Oh, no.
And a freeze went over the whole city, and it was very scary. And when one door closes, another opens. I looked into entertainment temp agencies, and I said, I only want to work in the entertainment business. And they said, good luck. So does everybody else. And, and this is when you had to show up in person and take the typing test and all that stuff. And so I did that with 13 of them. And they had said, call us in the morning, and first, the first people to call will be the first on the list, and those will be the ones that we send out. So they opened up at 6 a.m. So I set my alarm for 5:58 a.m. every morning, and I would go, I'm available, I'm available, I'm available, I'm available. And then I just turn back over and kind of fall back asleep. And I worked every day, almost every day, because I was just so speedy at it.
Wow, that's amazing. We have some similar stories. I did something similar. It's too long to talk about now, but when we get together, I'll have to share. But I'm from Michigan too. Did you know that?
I think we talked about that a long time ago. Yeah. What part of it was it?
What, Dearborn Heights. And
Dearborn Heights. Okay.
Ford Motor Company. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Yes. And I went to Fortson.
Okay. Nice. I was a little town outside of Ann Arbor.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. Well, see, I knew there was something about you, and that was special, and that drew me to you. But what advice would you give the listeners here, our audience, if they would like to pursue being a producer, doing what you're doing? How would someone begin to do that? Because, we all have dreams, and a lot of us have the same dreams. Some of us have different dreams, but our dreams are dreams, and we all want to bring them alive, and we all have passion, and we want to learn how to do it. We just need the motivation. What would you do? What would you say?
I think, to draw your roadmap first. Do you want to work in film, TV series, scripted, unscripted? Make a decision there, and then start talking to the people in that field, and try to get yourself in. A lot of people will start out as a production assistant and then, work their way up that way, and they'll split off into two different routes. If you're more towards the business side of things, logistics, money, or if you're more towards the creative side of things. So you, from production assistant would work your way up to a producer's assistant or associate producer, and then kind of keep going up that way. Or if you're more logistical, you would work your way up to a assistant coordinator, production manager, line producer, that sort of thing.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you for accepting this offer to be on my show. I know you're busy, and it was difficult for you, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for taking the time. You're beautiful and brilliant, and
thank you.
You really are, and I really appreciate you, and thank you so much for being on my show. I really appreciate that.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. God bless you.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in with Nadia and her guests. For more info, episodes, and connection, please visit our website, thenadiasaharishow.com. Share episodes with your friends. Follow us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Instagram, and most importantly, never give up. Live your dream.
Latin Connection Magazine is a family magazine featuring people of influence, cultural events, and traditions, and Latinos in the fashion industry. Conoce tu vecino y mucho más. We invite you to share your special event with us at LatinConnectionMag.com. Latin Connection Magazine. Conexión Latina y mucho más. Latin Connection Magazine. It's for anyone and everyone to enjoy, no matter who you are.